What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Creativ Rise podcast. Today is a super exciting episode because we got a friend of ours, a friend of the show that we talked about getting on the show before the show was even a show, and somehow we're 70-something episodes in, and she hasn't been on yet. So today is the day. Beba Vowels is on the podcast with us, a great friend. We're getting into more of how well we know Beba and her whole story and a lot of other things in this episode. You're not going to want to miss it.
Yeah.
But we are also so excited. We've been getting so many messages from people being like, I'm so excited for the next round with Creativ Rise Mastermind. I'm on the wait list. When's it coming? Blah, 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 blah. It's so exciting.
Yeah, we've announced the dates for our next 6-week mastermind, which is going to be starting September 18th. And applications go live when, Joey?
September 5th.
September
5th, you can officially apply. It goes up live to the public. But if you're on the wait list, you get early access to apply, which is so helpful because, guys, this is the 8th round. This will push us over 200 people that have graduated from the 6-week Creativ Rise Mastermind. And so if you're not on the wait list, odds are you probably won't get a spot. Or if you do get a spot, you might squeak into one of the two or three last people that sometimes get one.
Yeah. And if you don't know what the Creativ Rise Mastermind is, real quick, if you're new here, new to the Creativ Rise podcast, our Creativ Rise Mastermind is our 6-week signature program that basically walks creatives of any type. So wedding photographers, brand photographers, videographers, graphic designers, social media managers,
people.
All of those good creative businesses basically walk through a 6-week experience where you receive coaching, community, and accountability. It's super rad. So you can learn more about it on our website, which is just creativrise.com to check that out.
The biggest shortcut you could ever take for your creative business. Literally no joke. So super excited about that. Other than that, guys, our episode with Beba is so fun, so exciting. Can't wait for you to listen to it. Dive on into it. Before you do, actually, I forgot to mention this. We also have another surprise for you in the episode. I'll kind of leak it right now. We talk a lot about productivity in this because Beba is one of the most impressive solopreneurs you will ever meet.
Yeah.
What she can do as a solo person working in her business is phenomenal. And it all comes down to the ways that she stays productive. And she talks a lot about how she stays productive in this episode, which is going to be so helpful for you as a business owner, whether you're a solopreneur or whether you have a team. But we took it a step further and we created a free resource for you.
With her.
Us and her giving you our 4 biggest tips for solopreneurs to get more productive so you can grow your business. All you got to do is go to creativrise.com/productivity. We're going to talk about that in the episode, and you get the free little mini video course that we did on that. But other than that, this episode is so good. Can't wait for you guys to listen to it. Here's our chat. Here's our chat with Beba. What's up, Beba? Welcome to the show. Crazy. This is your first time on the Creativ Rise podcast. What the heck?
I know.
Wild.
It's so crazy. I feel like when you guys very first started it, Christy was like, we were talking about when I was going to come on, and that was a while ago. That was like,
I think that was 2 years ago.
Well, this is episode 70-something, right?
Oh my gosh.
That was a long time ago.
The buildup has really built the anticipation for Beba to be on our podcast.
No, now I'm
We've
nervous.
just been waiting for the perfect moment. Oh my gosh, don't be nervous. We are so happy to have you on the podcast because you've been a part of our lives just personally since literally the day we started dating.
Yeah, I think we need to tell everybody this.
Yeah, that was so crazy.
When I first flew to California to pursue Christy, called that. We were friends at that point, but I was like, I'm going to marry this girl. I fly to California. I literally fly into San Diego. She's in San Diego speaking at a workshop that Beba was running. And that was like our first 24 hours together. It was like me sitting in the back of an Airbnb while Beba and Christy are running a workshop for a bunch of female wedding photographers. It was awesome. I was like, who's this Beba person? She's super cool. This is
Crushing
awesome.
it.
And I was
Crushing
like,
it.
Christy's also really cool. This is awesome.
You could say your workshop was our first date. How about that?
We'll say that.
Wait,
we'll say our first date was a rower's workshop.
I love that.
Honestly, it's kind of true.
That's so good.
But Beba has shot our wedding.
Yeah,
She's you shot us in Yosemite when we were dating. You've been a part of our relationship life like nobody else. So we really appreciate now that you're on the show in a more professional sense, but still personal because you are such a fun, personal person. So this is going to be a great podcast episode. But we're just going to start diving in because I think we've got people that are coming from your side, Beba, who are maybe like just wanting to know a little bit more of the backstory of Beba Beba. You've got some fans out there that are probably listening. And then also, we are so excited to introduce you to the Creativ Rise community that doesn't know you yet. And so we want to give people a great rounded view of what's going on in your life and talk about some really cool stuff today. So we always start our guest episodes with rapid fire questions. Okay, Beba, are you ready for these rapid fire questions? You're just going to give us quick, short answers, not the backstory, because we're going to get to that, but rapid answers. So, number one, where are you from?
California.
Where in California?
Southern California, San Diego-ish area.
San Diego, California. And then what do you tell other people that you do? Like when someone asks you, what do you do? What do you say?
I just say I'm a photographer. There's too much. I'm a photographer.
I love it. Okay, we'll get into it.
Love it.
How long have you been in business for?
Like 5 years, almost 4.5, 5-ish. Yeah,
Love it.
I think
we'll call it 5. We'll call it 5.
And Christy's
and then this is my favorite question of all time.
Elaborate a little bit more on this.
What's an embarrassing moment or like a total fail that you've had in your business?
Yeah, I feel like one of the biggest ones, I was just thinking about this, that I had kind of recently, was I was hosting a workshop in Hawaii. The hair and makeup artists are coming. There's a wedding styled shoot. And I told the models the wrong day. And literally the shoot was starting in like 5 minutes. It was so, and there was like, there was like, 16 photographers that none of them were from Hawaii. So all of them came from the mainland. And we're there to shoot this couple that thought that it was on Wednesday when in reality it was on Monday, and I was freaking out. But luckily our Airbnb neighbors were so cute, and so we just ran over and asked them if they would do it, and they came in last minute. So it ended up working out. But I was freaking out. I felt like such a failure in that moment. I was so embarrassed because I was like, the hair and makeup artists are literally there to do her hair and makeup, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're not replying. And I was like mad at the couple, and then I was like, wait a second, let me just make sure that I said everything right. And I was scrolling up through our messages, and I was like, oh, frick. I was like, this is my fault.
Oh my gosh.
That is a moment.
That could be like marketing material for Airbnb.
Yeah.
I just picture one of those Airbnb starting to do these like really like personal commercials where they talk about like how families like reconnected at or something on Airbnb. Like Beba should do something where like my business was saved by the Airbnb neighbors. If I was staying at a Marriott, it would have burned.
Yeah.
But Airbnb saved my life.
I love it. Pitch it. That's
it was so
good.
great.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, you survived the rapid fire questions. Awesome job. We are going to now move into some more questions as we dive deeper into all that you are and all that you're doing, which is really exciting. But we kind of want to go back and start a little bit from the beginning. So, Beba, where did you grow up and how did you end up in California?
Yeah. So I grew up in Kansas. We traveled a lot as kids, but never never like really to California, or every time that we traveled, we went like internationally to like Mexico or the Bahamas or something. So I didn't really like explore the US a ton. And then I don't even know where I was going with that, why I got on that. Oh, because I'd never been to California before. Yeah. I'd never been to California. And then my husband, who was my boyfriend in high school, he's a couple years older than me, so he left for the Marines while I was still in high school, and I was like, okay, well, this sucks. Like, I'm all alone here, and like he's all alone there. And yeah, so I went to college for a year, and then when I was in college, that was like when we were engaged, and that's when I kind of like started thinking about photography. And I literally Googled like, how much does a photographer make? And it said $20,000. So I was like, okay, never mind. I don't want to be a photographer if it's not going to make any money. So
that's a great story.
Yeah. So I decided to like kind of quit that dream for then. And then, yeah, I graduated a year early from college, and we got married a couple weeks after. And yeah, Bo was still in the Marines at that point and still is now. So I moved out here after we got married, and that's what brought me out to California. And I'd came and visited him a couple times before that, but other than that, like I'd like never been to California. So I was like, oh, it's like so cool. It's like the dreamland. It's like, LA, I don't know, Hollywood. Like I just thought I was 17.
Like, now you're like, I never want to go to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Or LA,
I'm like, LA is the
like,
worst. Hollywood is
LA
disgusting.
is the worst. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
That's so
okay.
good.
So what got you into becoming a photographer? Because you just said that you looked at the dream, said $20K per year, that's not going to cut it.
Yeah.
What got you to kind of jump over that hurdle? How did that start?
Yeah. So like all throughout high school and stuff, I really like wanted to do it, and I went and like toured colleges to go into photography, and that's kind of when I just like kept Googling. I'm like, "Ah, like it only makes $20,000. So yeah, I decided to go to a college like that had nothing to do with photography, and I just got a scholarship for running. And so I like kind of gave up on it. And then when I moved out to California, I was like, hey, what am I doing with my life? Like, I have an associate's in business. I think it was ag business because I think I got another scholarship for like agriculture because I grew up on a farm. So it was like the most
Yes.
random thing that I'm like, what am I going to use with that? Like, I don't want to be a farmer. So
Yes.
I was applying to like every single job that I could like think of and imagine, and I was not getting any jobs because I was probably 18 and they saw me as like a military wife who wasn't going to live here for very long, like no experience in anything, like I'd been a waitress. So then I decided, I was like, okay, well, I need to go back to college. And I didn't really want to go to college on my running scholarship anymore. So I decided to start working at Starbucks, because if you work at Starbucks, then you can go to college for free. And yeah, I was working at Starbucks and I actually loved that job. It was a lot of fun. But I was just bored, and I like never ended up actually going back to college because I was like, I'm not going to go if I don't know what I want to do. So yeah, I was just working there and I was super bored. And one night I was laying in bed on my phone and I was like, Googled like, I don't know, it was probably like a BuzzFeed quiz or something. And it was like, what to do with my life? Like, what do I want to be when I grow up? And
Classic.
it said, yeah.
Those dark holes that
Yes.
you go
Yes.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like
Gotcha.
2 a.m. because I had like a 4 a.m. shift the next morning. So I don't know. So I started Googling and it said something along the lines of like social media, like creating, I don't know, like content. And so I was like, oh, photography, like I'll do that again. And so the next day I was at work and I was on my 10-minute break, and I had followed this photographer because she shot like a military homecoming. And so I started following her from that just because it was like cute. And I was like, oh, Beau's a Marine, like maybe I'll have pictures like that someday. And
Yeah.
she posted that she was hosting a workshop. And I was like, I mean, I just took a quiz last night that said that I should do this. So I guess I'll do that. So
Seems
I
like a good
texted
next
Beau.
step.
Yeah. Yeah. So I texted Beau and I was like, hey, can I do this? And it was like, I mean, obviously a lot of money for something that I had like no idea about anything. He was like, yeah, you should do it. And so I was on my 10-minute break and I was freaking out. And then I just like Venmoed this random person on Instagram like $2,000. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I need a camera now and guess I'm doing this. So I was kind of freaking out and I like felt, I don't know, like really bad for Beau that I just like wasted this money. And I was like, okay, I need to make that back. So I ended up getting a second job as a waitress during the time from that I signed up for the workshop to the time that the workshop came, so that I can make back that money in case it was like a huge mistake. And I was freaking out that entire Starbucks shift. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. So then I went home that night and I, got a camera. It was like, I don't know, Canon Rebel or something like that. And then it was like 2 weeks before the workshop host posted that they were like their packing guide, and they posted what kind of cameras they had. So then I was Googling like their camera versus my camera. And I was like, my camera's terrible compared to theirs. And so then it was like right before that, I was like, I need a new camera. And so I was talking to my mom and I ended up getting a Mark IV. Literally didn't know how to use it. Like I
still hasn't shot anybody, but buys a Mark IV.
Just jump straight to it. I mean, you might as well.
Hey.
Yeah. So got the Mark IV, got the Canon 35. I was shook that I spent that much money on something, but at this point I was invested. I was like, I got a crappy waitressing job for those 2 months that I like absolutely hated, but I made the money back, so it's fine. And I went to the workshop and just was so obsessed, like made so many of my best friends still to this day, and came back the next day and quit my job. And yeah, that was like 4.5 years ago. So that's kind of where it all started.
Crazy.
That is so wild, Beba. I loved
love
that. Okay, so give like a little bit of the highlight reel. So from there, you then have, I mean, many people know like what you've accomplished, but some people don't. So why don't you give us
quick,
like
went from there to this, to this, to this.
To where you are now.
To where you are.
Yeah. So
still as a photographer, apparently. Apparently that's all you do.
Yeah.
Tell people.
Right.
Which I
Um,
so can appreciate, because people are always like, so what do you do, man? And I'm like, marketing. They're like,
Yeah,
"Got it."
marketing.
That's cool, man. Where'd you go to school? I'm like,
I didn't.
I didn't.
yeah, nobody goes
I
to
so
school
get
anymore.
it. I so get it.
No.
So, okay, give us the, like, what chronologically happened really quickly, up
Yes.
until this point.
Yeah. So at that workshop, one of the main things that they talked about was just like getting clients, especially in a new place. Like living in California, I didn't know anybody there. So I went home and I set up literally probably 200 shoots that summer. And I just shot almost every single day for that entire summer. And it was a blast. It was so much fun. And obviously during that time,
Dang.
like I was second shooting, I had like one random wedding that I somehow booked before the workshop. I don't know, and it was actually a beautiful
What?
wedding. Yeah,
That's crazy.
That's
I think that
amazing.
they were a military couple, so I think that I probably like replied to their like Facebook post or something. But yeah, it was
Gotcha.
like actually a really good wedding, and I loved it. And yeah, I was second shooting a ton, which was so great because I mean, so many photographers travel to California, so
Yeah.
yeah, just a lot of connections from the workshop led me to a lot of opportunities. And then I quickly started to book weddings. That first year, like that fall, I think I had like 5 or 6 of my own weddings, which I was really proud of. And then the next year, I, slowly got more. So I think I had like 25 the next year. Um, and then, yeah, kind of just like coasted through that. And during all of that, um, I was like hosting styled shoots and doing like retreats and stuff for other photographers. And then 2020 hit, and I was freaked out along with everybody else, and that's kind of where we met.
Yeah.
And um,
Mm.
yeah, we like right at the beginning of quarantine. Oh yeah, home team. That was
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
where I feel like a lot of things like shifted for me.
Cool.
So yeah, you guys were doing home team. I think I spoke on it or something.
Yeah, you did.
And
And
home team, just to describe that for a second for context.
Yeah.
That was right when Christy and I started dating. I had already been running Creativ Rise stuff because that was a thing that I did before I met Christy. And then Christy was running home team, which was like similar to what I was doing Creativ Rise wise. And we were doing these big Zoom calls for all these people that were stressed out about what COVID was going to do to their businesses. Beba was a part of that. She spoke on a bunch of them. And then post that, Christy and I then kind of merged those two things, and that's why it's just Creativ Rise now. But just for context,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't think that word gets
Backstory.
thrown around as much
Home
as
team is OG. If
It
someone
is OG.
notices what home
when
team is,
someone's
you've
like,
been
"Yo, I'm a home
around.
teamer," we're like, "What's up, baby? Welcome home.
Yes.
You're
Welcome home.
Okay, so keep going. So home team.
yeah, so home team, and then obviously during that time too, like that was when all my weddings were getting canceled. So I was so freaked out, and that's kind of when I started like online education. I came out with a Pinterest guide, and I think that's why I was like a part of home team. Like I think that we
Yeah.
did something with the Pinterest guide through it or
Yeah,
something.
you came and
we
talked
brought
on-
you on and interviewed you, and then
Oh, yeah.
You taught
so many
everybody.
people were so stoked
Yeah.
about it. It
You
was
taught
awesome.
everybody on Pinterest stuff, and there was a
Yeah.
lot of people who were like, "Beba's literally changed my business through Pinterest," which
Yeah.
is so cool. So if you don't have the
So
guide
cool.
and you're listening to this, go get the Pinterest guide. There you
Yeah.
go.
So
Keep going.
that was just, yeah, it was so much fun. And I think that I just really loved it. Like during that time, like I'd never realized like how much community you could have by staying at home.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still had all my weddings booked. But yeah, that's when I kind of like decided that I wanted to like gear more towards like something else outside of wedding photography. And I didn't really know what that was at the time. And then started shooting all of my weddings. And I was also like panic booking a lot of weddings during that time too, because I was like, I don't know like how long this is going to last. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
not be making any money. And so I just completely overbooked myself for 2021. And yeah, 2021 came. I kind of transitioned roamers into more of like an education, because before that it was just like a series of styled shoots, and I was just so scared to like teach on my own. And Christy like helped so much with that, because I had her come and guest speak, and she was like, "Wait, why aren't you doing this?" And I'm like, "I don't know, because I don't want to,"
Yeah.
or like I'm scared. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, then 2021 I like transitioned roamers into like a lot more education rather than just styled shoots. And then yeah, I was just still doing like more education, but then on top of that was like all my weddings. And then I just got so burnt out, and I like just hated traveling all the time. And I don't know, I was just like in such a big rut, but like feeling so fulfilled in the other sides of things. And And yeah, now it's 2020 and I have a lot less weddings, which I feel good about. And I feel like I'm at like a really good point with weddings now. Um,
Cool.
and yeah, just doing roamers and I don't know, just like I feel like a bunch of random different things.
I feel like Beba, you have so many things. First of all, if anyone was in the wedding space in the last 2 years, it's like Beba. Like Beba is iconic in the wedding industry as a wedding photographer. I feel like you are someone who I think and your story is so interesting in that you're like, I went to a workshop and then I cranked out 200 shoots in one summer and then I booked like 6 weddings in 2 months. Like you just grind and
Yeah.
you ground so hard that doesn't make any sense. You worked so hard and you, I think, attracted so many clients, attracted a ton of Instagram followers over such a short period of time. You were just like, anytime an opportunity came, you just threw yourself into it full force. And I think that's why you've been a huge part of why you've been so successful is because you've had the confidence to move forward in that. Even when you say, I didn't have the confidence to move forward, you still move forward, which is super, super cool. So I hope
Yeah.
everyone can also listen to this going like, man, that's really inspiring of like, I can start anything that I want to, right? Like I can just like go for it. And so I think that's really, really inspiring.
And one of the coolest parts about all of that, Beba, is you have had different people help you out at different points, and we've kind of heard about that and talked to you about that. But for the most part, you have built what you've built as a solopreneur.
Totally.
Which there's 2 ways to do business. You either do business in a team format where you build a team under you, which is great, or you do it in a solopreneur format, which is also just as great. There's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
They just come with different pros and cons.
Mhm.
However, a lot of people think that the only way to be successful is by building a team and having tons of people working for you. And it depends on what you're doing. In a lot of areas, of business, that is a big need. But as a creative, and specifically to what you're doing, if you have great time management skills, you're really good at staying productive, you can be a solopreneur really well. And you're like perfect living proof of that. So
Yeah.
why don't we talk about, just for a second, like what do you think are some of the main reasons why creatives struggle? Because 95, 98, 99% of creatives are probably solopreneurs, right? Most people don't have a team working under them. So
Mhm.
why do you think so many people struggle as solopreneurs when it comes to actually being productive? I would love to talk about that because I feel like that's kind of your secret sauce on why you've been able to build Roamers to what it was, why you were able to do 200 shoots in a summer. That's insane. Like
Yeah.
all of that stuff. You built a great wedding business, right?
The fact that you've got your wedding business, you have an
Yeah.
entire preset business that is like
You're like the only person to
incredible.
actually have presets and like legit make money off
And
them.
make great money off
Everyone's
of
always like, I'm
them.
gonna do presets. I'm like, oh my gosh.
You've like ran conferences with other people, other entrepreneurs. You're
Yeah.
starting new businesses right
You've
now.
done a
Like
lot.
your question being,
Yeah. Why do you think people other than you, like, let's just put a blanket statement
Yeah.
over people? Because I want to give people something to grasp onto and go, oh, that is me. Because then we're going to talk about maybe how they can jump through some of that. But
yeah,
why do you think people as solopreneurs struggle to just be productive?
Oh gosh. I feel like I'm such a goal person and like if I don't have like something that I'm like working towards, then it's like really hard for me to continue on with that. So, and especially like
Mm.
as a business owner, like sometimes it's like scary to like put such big goals on.
Totally.
So I guess maybe my thought process would be is like they're not like, what are you working for? Like, are you just working
Yeah.
because that's what everybody does? Or are you working because you want to achieve something? Or like, do you want to buy a house? Or do you, want to go to the
Yeah.
beach every day and like not have to
Yeah.
work? Or like, what are you working for? And like, I feel like once you have something that you're working towards, you're so much more productive than
Mm.
when you're just working to work. Like, go get a 9-to-5
Yeah.
job at that point. Like,
Totally.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that.
I think
I don't
it's
know.
like,
Hopefully,
yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I think a lot of people sometimes will just be like, oh, I'll just like start something, I guess. And like they'll do it off of just like inspiration. Like, oh, I just got really
Yeah.
inspired to do
Mhm.
this. But if you just rely on inspiration and motivation to like help you be productive, then that's going to fizzle out. I mean, I know for
Yeah.
myself, like
100%.
I'll get excited about a project. I'm sure all three of us, we're all ideas
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
We've probably cranked out more ideas than most people, but cranking out an idea and you're like, I'm so excited about this. And then it never actually comes to fruition. Like I know I've done that like so many times, and I'm
Oh,
sure you guys
100%.
have too.
Well, that's like
Yeah,
the classic
totally.
creative flaw, right? Is like we
Yes.
go, oh my gosh, I'm so inspired to do this. I'm gonna go buy the camera. I'm gonna go to the workshop, but then they never actually have any kind of external motivation that's gonna take them past that, right?
Totally.
So, here's a question I have that kind of goes into that, and then Christy, what you were just saying is super good. We should circle back to that. But when you think about that, I want you to relate that to yourself now. So you're saying if you don't have motivation that kind of goes beyond just working your job, because that's all it is. If you own a business, you're just working a job for yourself, right? If you're saying if you don't have anything that kind of like externally pulls you past that, you're gonna not get very far. So what are some of those things maybe in the past that have gotten you to this point, and then what are maybe some of those motivations right now that keep you working?
Yeah.
Like describe
Yeah.
those, because I think it'd be really cool for people to hear those for you, and maybe that will
Mhm.
give them insight on maybe what their motivations are.
Yeah. So I'm like such a nerd when it comes to like money and budgeting and stuff. So at the beginning, it was
I love it. Same with
definitely,
me.
yeah,
Math is the
it was,
path. Math
Yes.
is the path.
yeah. So yeah, at the beginning, it was definitely like just like making back the money from all of that stuff that I spent money on. And also like being married young, like I, went straight from like living off of my parents to then living off of Bo. And I was like, okay, but what am I providing? Like, what am I doing? I've
Mm.
had jobs, but it's always just went to savings. Like I've never really had to worry about anything. And so, and I didn't want to be like that. Like that summer, I was like, okay, I need to like make a job. I need to make a plan for my life, especially because at that time, Bo was like, yeah, I'm getting out of the Marines. Like, what am I going to do afterwards? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just want to like have fun. Like, I don't want to, constantly
Wanna go to
have
the
to be
beach.
thinking about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the beginning, that was definitely just like making up all the money that I spent because I was feeling kind of guilty for that. But then it like slowly transitioned into, um, like with weddings, I like, each year set a goal of like, okay, I want to make like $75,000 with weddings. And then the next year, like 100,000. And then same with my presets, like just like setting like very distinct goals of like what I wanted to do and like why I wanted to do that. So like for the last, I don't know, probably 2 years, Bo and I have just been like saving for our house, once he gets out of the Marines in November.
Mhm.
So that was always like, okay, like we're buying a house, like we want to put down as much as we can. So that's kind of what that has been. And now that we've bought the house, it's like, okay, I want to pay that off as fast as we can. And also like last year, I really wanted a Jeep. So I was like, okay, if I do this, 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 and this, and like do this at this time, then I'll have this much to like buy a Jeep in cash. So not that it like is always money motivated. I think that some things are like I'm motivated by money by, but then there's things like roamers where it's like I want to go to Hawaii and like be surrounded by a bunch of girls and like have the best week of my life, and like I want to add an extra day because I want to like meet these girls and hang out with them and go to the beach. I'm such a beach
Yeah.
bum, but
Yeah.
Love it.
yeah, I just think I'm always just motivated by kind of specific things with each specific business idea and like what I kind of
Yeah.
expect it to bring for me.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
one of the things that I want to make really clear that I'm hearing you say is like you are motivated by money.
Yeah.
That is not a bad thing. A lot
No.
of people think it's a bad thing.
It is
No,
not.
you
Reason
told me
why
that.
it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And sorry, go ahead.
No, you told me that in 2020 when we were walking through Yosemite. I remember like exactly where we were and we were talking about it. And I was like, yeah, but like, I don't really want to. And you're like, why? It's not a bad thing. And so I've literally like that has stuck with me ever since then. So yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome.
glad.
love you for
I
saying
was going to
that.
say you
Yes.
embodied that so well because you were like, oh, I wanted to make all the money back that I spent on that thing because I spent a lot of money on it.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to make enough money so that I could qualify myself to buy that Jeep, or I could qualify me and my husband to buy that. You
Mhm.
and Bo. I said that as if I'm married to Bo. You and Bo could buy that house, right? And
Yeah.
what I'm saying in that is you're quantifying money as a tool. That's not a bad thing at all. That's
Yeah.
literally what it is. Money is nothing but a tool to do
Yeah.
things with, right? And we
Mhm.
hope that everybody in the world, we hope everybody listening to this podcast is going to see money that way and is going to, I want to use my money for good, whether it's
Yeah.
for my own good, for my family,
Yeah.
what like you're doing, or whether it's for the good of other people, right? But money is nothing but a tool. And I love that you've got a great perspective on money. And I think I'm going to put myself on the line here, and I'm going to say, Beba, I think a massive part of your success in your career is due to the fact that you have a good relationship with money.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
so many creatives will go, I actually don't want to make money. Like subconsciously, their brains are primed not to make money.
Yeah.
What happens when they get to the end of the year? They go, I don't know if I can keep doing this. I got to go to get another job. Well,
Yeah.
why? Well, I didn't make money. Well, what's your thoughts on money? How do you view money? Well, money's bad. It's like, well, of course you're not going to make it as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You don't see the main necessity, the bloodline of which you need to have in your business as a tool, right? So,
Yeah.
Big kudos to you. I love that you just said that. And I love how you were like, I'm not really motivated by money, but I'm kind of motivated by money, you know, because it's a weird thing to say, I'm motivated by money, but it's like you're motivated by what the blood of your business is going to do for your business and how that's going to give you and Bo and your future family, you know, whatever type of life, and you being able to do other things with that money to help other people. Like, such a cool thing. So I just want to make that really clear. You have done that so well. And I think that's a great attribute of your success. And I want everybody listening to this to think about their own money situation, because if you are really, really insecure when it comes to money, you're not going to be able to build a good business, because it just so happens that money is the lifeline of a business, right? So
that's
a really cool point. Okay, let's circle back to what you were talking about, because that was so good as well.
Yeah. Well, I think this will also help with that conversation is, Beba, what's a time either in your life, if you can pinpoint it, or if it's something that like, I know this is a trigger that kills my productivity, kills my motivation for productivity. It kills like if I wake up in the morning and I just feel drained, like what preceded that? Like, what are some of the triggers that maybe make you feel unproductive?
Yeah. I feel like I'm like all over the place when it comes to like schedule and like motivation and stuff. Like I definitely go through waves. So, I mean, like the biggest one in my business was pretty much all of last year when I was just like working so much and I was exhausted. And so it was like when I wasn't shooting weddings, like I didn't want to be doing anything like business related, which I like outsourced pretty much everything last year, which really helped with that. So, yeah, I just feel like there's like so many things with different seasons in life. Like even if it's just like cloudy outside and it's like, or if it's really sunny outside and I'm like, okay, I'm having FOMO. Like I want to be outside. Like I don't want to be sitting in here.
Totally.
But yeah, I guess one thing that I learned very early on, that this might be kind of more of like a surface level thing of just like having a clean desk. Like if my desk is like disgusting and like there's like empty Starbucks like all sitting all over, then I am not productive, or I don't know. I feel like there's just so many things.
No, I think you're touching
energy and what takes energy. From you, right? So you got to have a clean space. For some people, that's huge.
And
for
I
some
think
people, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think you're touching on this point that we were talking about earlier, and that you're unveiling for everybody, is that prepping and like being aware of what takes away your energy and what gives you energy is the most important thing you can do when it comes to your productivity. 100%. Being aware of your energy, being not in a woo-woo way, just like being aware of like what makes you feel drained and burnt out and what fills you up. It's going to be different for a lot of people, but I think that there are some tried and true things that take away your energy and things that actually give you energy and give you like a prep for your mind and body to actually be productive throughout the day. And I think what you're saying of like, even just organization, like what's like your space look like when you go to work? What does your morning routine look like? What does also not piling up your schedule where you're working every second of every day, doing a lot of these tasks that maybe your business requires, but you're not giving yourself margin to actually be refilled to then go back and be excited about work. I think a lot of those things are things that creatives could probably be like, oh my gosh, that's me. Or like, oh my gosh, if I go to bed late, I feel like a wreck the next day. Or if I don't stay up late and I have to get up early, that actually burns me out. You know? I think that there's some really interesting pieces in there that affect productivity. And I think when we rely fully on just inspiration, when we're like, maybe some people are going to be listening to this and they're going to be, I'm so inspired by Beba about the preset thing. I'm going to go out and do my own presets and it's going to be great. And then they'll try it for a couple days based off of their motivation, and then it's going to die. And whether or not they pick it back up and actually push it across the finish line isn't going to be if they get re-inspired. It's going to be, can they develop healthy habits that's going to prep their mind and body to be productive? And I think that is like one of the most important things you can do as a creative. And it sounds like it's what you do as a creative every single day, because you are a solopreneur. You're not like your boss isn't telling you, hey, Beba, you need to finish this deadline by this time. You're doing that all by yourself. And so I think you do such a good job of that because you run so many different businesses. And I think a lot of people can kind of glean from that. So yeah, I think
100%.
productivity is just huge. So yeah.
Yeah. I think reiterating like what you said about just like being aware, because like I think everybody, especially as a business owner, when you don't have a boss telling you what to do, like you're going to go through phases of like, you know, in summertime, like the sun sets way later, like just like being aware of those things. And like if you're married, like if your husband's coming home from work at a certain time, like just like kind of like basing that, like how you work around all of your surroundings, and then yeah, like changing it throughout the seasons, and not just like
Yeah,
because I'm like a routine person, but like I cannot do the same thing every day. Like I've tried to write in a
totally.
journal every day and I can't do that. Like, and that's okay. And I
Yeah.
think everybody's different in it, and like realizing that everybody is different, that you can make it your own. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the coolest pieces of advice I ever got about, I feel like it is productivity, was actually from my dad. He said work comes in waves for some people. So it's like you'll have a wave that comes where you've got a lot of work, you got a lot of motivation, you've got a lot of whatever it is, you've got a lot going on, and you're going to grind for a season. And then it recedes and you have your season of a little bit more rest, a little more margin. You're not going to work all day, every day. You're going to take that time off. And it sounds like that's how you work. And that's very much how we work, is we work
yeah.
in waves. And I think that might help people to know who might be coming out of a 9 to 5, who might be coming out of working full time for somebody or being in school full time, is to come out of that going, I don't have to work on a strict schedule being a creative. You can make your own waves of what your work looks like throughout the year. And that might actually help your productivity a ton, which is super cool.
Yeah. And to wrap that point up, Beba, what would you say to somebody who actually feels really guilty and feels like caught in the washing machine of, I just always overwork myself because that's what I think I'm supposed to be doing? Because I'm assuming you would probably say that that's not actually going to help them produce much. Like, what would you say to that person? Because there's a lot of people that listen to this podcast that I guarantee you live in that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess if I were like just to give them advice, it's like just take 2 weeks off and like don't do anything, don't think about anything. And like when they come back to work, they'll be so much more inspired. They'll be more creative. They'll be literally just, they'll get so much more done in a shorter period of time. And I think that's a cool thing about owning a business, is that you don't have to work all the time. And
100%.
Yeah.
I like, it seems like common sense, but it's like that joke that goes around on Instagram where it's like, oh, I started my business and instead of working 9 to 5, now I work 24/7. And it's like, that's true, but also it doesn't have to be like that. Like you can choose not to do that all the time. And yeah, like, you know, if there's certain things that are draining, like emails or Instagram or whatever, like outsource it just for like a month, or just forget about it for like a month. And if it's in a healthy way, like don't abandon your emails for a month. That's probably not the best thing, but
for sure.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the question? I kind of forgot what you said.
That's it. It's like
okay.
Yeah. It's because it's so true, right? People just think that you're like a slave. Christy and I say this all the time. If you own a business and it's not helping you achieve your personal goals, you just own a job. Like you don't own your own business. That's giving you like liberation from potentially the work schedule that you didn't enjoy when you worked a 9 to 5, right? The whole point of owning a business is because a lot of us want to control more aspects of our lives. And so it's a lifestyle it's a lifestyle choice, right? To get into choosing to do that. And it's totally true what Christy said and what you guys were saying. You know, there's seasons where you have to grind and you won't see, you know, a lot of the things you want to be doing each day as much. But then there's seasons where it's like, wow, we actually can do whatever we want for the next 2 months. And is that okay? Can we do that? It's like, can somebody sign off on that for me? But it's like, just do it. Like it's your thing. So that's really encouraging. I hope somebody listening to that today, that's just going to change their perspective on it, because it's so helpful. Okay. So here's the fun part of this episode. We're all excited to talk about this. We love this conversation. Beba loves this conversation. It has helped Beba build the business she's been able to build. Christy and I love this conversation. It's helped us build the businesses we've been able to build. And it's all comes down to, again, the only way business has ever worked, and the only way business will ever work, is you get paid for what you produce. You get paid for the value you give out to the world. Now, what stops people from giving value to the world is their productivity, right? And we've talked a lot about productivity today, a lot about things that help you, especially as a solopreneur. That's something that's so cool about what you're doing is it's very solo in a lot of the things that you're doing. And that's a super cool strong suit. And that's really relatable to a lot of people. So the three of us got together and said, what could we do outside of this podcast that's going to really help people just go deeper into that and to get better results in their business? And we were like, we should make some kind of free PDF that people can download with some of our best productivity tips. And then we wait, hold on a second. We should go a step further and we should create a PDF that also has like a little video course that's going to teach people visually and audibly these 4 tips. Now, the coolest thing about this is we made it. Second coolest thing about this is it's totally free. And the third thing is it's so easy to get. So 4 tips for 4 productivity tips for solopreneurs. It's literally a small video course. It's going to take you less than 15 minutes to completely demolish, go through it, take notes on it, see what's applicable to you, see how you can integrate that into your life. I'm really excited about it. All you got to do is go to creativrise.com/productivity. I really hope you can spell that word properly. We were trying to think of do a different word.
If not, just go to either one of our Instagrams and we'll have it linked in our bio.
You can find it somewhere there. Creativ Rise Instagram, figure it out. You'll be able to find it. If you're a Creativ Rise person and you're used to this stuff, because we talk about this stuff on the show all the time when we give away free things, all you got to do is just text the word productivity to 916-587-6417. 916-587-6417. It's in the description of this podcast. Just shoot us a text, write the word productivity, and we'll send you the guide and the link to actually go through and grab that video. I'm super excited for people to dive into this. Beba, why do you think something like this matters? And how can something, even though it's free, I don't know why everyone in the world is going to get it. Like, why is this free thing that's going to take somebody 15 minutes to go through going to help people?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it goes back to everything that we were just saying. Like, why are you working? Like, if you're just working to work, then just go get a normal job because it'll be a lot easier than what you're doing right now. So
100%.
like working for something, like being productive when you work, that way when you're not working, you can like fully enjoy your time and not just be like sitting there absolutely stressed about everything that you need to be doing instead. I don't know. I feel like just being productive is like such a thing, especially like creative people struggle with, because like you want to be creative, you want to be artsy, like you want to enjoy that side of it. And like not as many people want to like do the business side of it. So it's like, how can, I don't know, just like be productive. Like,
just educate people on being productive. I think that's brilliant. I love that. And go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, you can like little tips like here and there are great, but like learning from people who like you guys who are like kill it, like you're so productive, like I don't know, like nobody can ever stop learning, especially with things like this that are like not just for wedding photographers, like it's not just for brand photographers, it's not just for this or this, like it's literally just how to be productive.
It's going to be so fun. It's going to be the 3 of us talking on these videos, educating you guys, because that's going to be cool, because it's going to be from 3 different perspectives. These 4 different tips from all 3 of us is going to be really cool. I just really think productivity is like the key for freedom. Like if you're thinking like productivity is like boring and it's going actually against my freedom, you're wrong. Like productivity is literally the gateway so that you can have freedom and enjoy your life when you're off, because then when you're working, you're actually working hard and you're doing it really, really well. And you'll feel good when you're working. If you want to feel better when you're working, get this guide. It's totally free. We just want to help you guys out. This is going to be so much fun. We can't wait for you guys to get it. Again, just creativrise.com/productivity. It'll be linked on both of our bios. Beba, how can people find you?
And then we got one more question.
I got one more question. But how can people find you before we ask this final question?
I have literally about 1 million Instagrams. So just my regular like home-based Instagram is just Beba Vowels. And then I have my Roamers Instagram, which is primarily for photographers. It's just Roamers Workshop. And then I also do wedding photography. So I have Beba Vowels photo, and then I have my presets, which are Beba Vowels presets. There's a lot going on, but mainly
type in Beba Vowels,
just
type in all the things. And
type in Beba Vowels and then go to suggested accounts. They're going to give out 6 of them. Just follow all of them.
That's the best thing about having such a unique name. Like I will never have to worry about if an Instagram username is
Never
available.
have to worry about
100%.
handles.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this is our signature question. Let's
Yeah.
wrap up the show today with this. Why should someone break the creative struggle in their own lives? Like, that's what Creativ Rise is all about. We exist literally because we believe creatives deserve to break the creative struggle. You've broken the creative struggle.
You're not. You're making over $20,000.
You broke the 20,000 barrier by like 10x plus. Like,
Yes.
you've crushed that. Why should the only reason why you did that was because you cared enough to break that in your own life.
Yeah.
Why should somebody go for it? That's basically the question.
I mean, unless you're literally just wanting to work the rest of your life, like, what are you doing? Like, I literally don't know anybody who just loves to go to work like all the time. Like, if they could work 24/7, they could. Like, nobody is like that. And it's like, just like once you, just like burst out of like your own mind, it just frees up so much of your life, and like then you enjoy work so much more. Yeah, I don't even know. I'm like so nervous on this podcast.
Totally. No,
but-
you're good. That's a great answer. It's
That's
like,
so
go for
good.
it, because you might as well do what you love. If you're going to have to work, you might as well go hard at what you love doing so that you can go to the beach whenever you want.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is your
so
life
that you
Break
can
the
go to the
creative
beach.
struggle so you can go to the beach.
Yes.
Yes.
I
That's
love
perfect.
I
That's
love
the
it.
signature Beba Vowels.
Totally.
Yes.
Well, Beba, thank
Aw.
you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah, we so
thank
appreciate
you for
you.
being a great friend. Thanks for being a
No.
great friend of Creativ Rise. Thanks for giving us just an awesome chat today on the podcast. And I'll speak for everybody listening today. Thanks for giving everybody value.
Yeah.
Super
No,
cool. So
you guys are the
cool.
best. Thanks
awesome.
for having me, and thanks for listening to me ramble.
I love it.
Anytime. All right. Thanks, Beba.
What a phenomenal interview with Beba.
She is the most genuine
She just
person.
like says
I
it how
love
it
her.
is. She's just like, here it is. Here's all the things that help me. So I hope that was super helpful
Yes.
for you. I know I learned a lot even just through having that conversation with Beba.
Yeah.
So Beba, thank you. Guys, if you do not already follow Beba, make sure you go follow all of the accounts that Beba listed.
All of her
but
accounts.
primarily make sure you go follow at Beba Vowels, because you'll get to see everything else from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, make sure you go hit her up there.
Absolutely. So again, we don't want you guys to miss out on that free productivity guide and video course. So hop on over to creativrise.com/productivity, or just hit us up at Creativ Rise on Instagram. You'll see the links for it there. Again, totally free. So get it yourself, send the link to some friends, have them download it as well, and hold each other accountable to these productivity tips. That would be awesome.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So yeah.
This will really, really help you grow your business. Like, these 4 tips are so, so great. Really excited to get them in your hands.
Absolutely.
Get
So
them in your
yeah,
head.
get them in your hands and into your head. So, and if you are not on the wait list yet for the Creativ Rise Mastermind, if community coaching and accountability sounds like something that you need in your business to help it flourish in this next year, while you do these productivity tips to bring your business to the next level, we want you to get on that wait list because it sells out every single time. So we want you to get on the wait list so you get first access when applications go live, because we start September 18th. So all you have to do to get on the wait list is just creativrise.com, and you'll see all the buttons for it there.
It's going to be an amazing fall. We're super excited. There's no better way to kick off fall in your business. Fall's like refreshing, right? Like, fall
Absolutely
brings new life to people. It's the start of the school year. It just brings new life to families, to businesses. And so there's no better way for you to kick off finishing the year strong. Fun fact, the best time to make money in your business is from the beginning of September to the end of the year. It is historically and statistically like the best time for most people. If you look at the stats, most people grow their revenue the most in those 4 months than they do at Q4 of the year than they do any other time. So what a great time to be surrounded by people who are going to guide you, people who are going to keep you accountable, and then a community just to cheer you on. So cannot wait. Again, creativrise.com/nothing. But you just creativrise.com. You'll see all the waitlist buttons there. We cannot wait to start round 8. Crazy. It's been 8 rounds of this already. Other than that, guys, thanks for being here today. Make sure, again, you go follow Beba. We'll catch you on the next episode. See you then.